today's episode of PJ and the Beard, we're going to take a look at a pedal from a company that's new to us. But before we get into that, I'd like to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel, click on the notification bell. Your interaction with us helps us interact with great people in the industry, and in this case, FFX Pedals. He'll tell you the backstory in a second, but so we got in the Ark of Tone, which we'll break that down, and I got a little cold here. And inside the box, there's a manual, which, that's what we do with these. But what's really cool is because it's a German company, it comes in this bag, or it comes with a bag, maybe suitable for walking down to the market, because they do everything walking in Germany, right? That's what they still do. But if you did,
to the beer house.
if you did, you just might find some German chocolates in the bag. So we really got taken care of. This may be just for us. I don't know. But you have to order a pedal and find out. But this is a new level swag. Like this is literally a swag bag. So we have that, and I might nosh all these chocolates during the show. But the Beard has the most important thing in his hand. He has the pedal. He's going to talk about why we have it, where it came from.
Right, and I will say that we got 3 pedals in from Frank over at FFX, and all 3 were wrapped in a bag. So that the bag at least.
The chocolate, maybe not.
So, Ark of Tone. Backstory behind this. This is a signature pedal of John over at the Tone Lounge, and he does a nice interview where he kind of talks to Frank on his channel. Maybe we can link that down below, where they kind of talk about the backstory and how this came to be and how he got a signature pedal and how it all worked. Cool idea, cool thing. And we were like, sure, we'd love to check it out and play with it a little bit. So Ark of Tone, I think Ark of Tone comes out of John's last name. The Ark comes out of that, and it sounds, Ark sounds impressive. Right. It's not a play on the King of Tone. It's not, you got a 2-channel pedal. It is not a King of Tone.
It's not the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy Grail.
No, it's not. It's not totally separate. Right. So, basically, just real quick, controls. You have 2 sides. Both are exactly the same pedal. You have a drive and a volume up at the top. And then you have, and this is interesting, it's a low pass filter. So it looks kind of funny. A lot of times you'll see that down really low. Mm-hmm. That's because we want to let the highs go through that are going through and not push the low tones a little bit. So, and then as you bring it up, it's going to add some bass into it and tame the highs out a little bit. And then you have, I think I said that right. And then you have 2 voltage knobs, and these are interesting. We'll show those off later. I found that the voltage knob really affects the fuzz, or not the fuzz, but the drive knob, right, and even the tone, because this is like as you rolled the voltage down, it got darker, so maybe you pulled the low pass back a little bit. Interesting. Turn on side A and B, or turn on the sides with these individually. Turn them on and off. You can have both of them on. The really cool thing is if the pedal's totally off and you hit the middle button, both sides pop on. If you have this side on and you hit the middle button, it switches to that side. And there is a moment where I think once or twice I was jumping between sides.
We didn't ever do both on, but we went in between.
We never did both. That never happens.
And you can't control the order in which they feed into each other, but that's not a big deal.
It doesn't.
Don't need to. It's 2 separate pedals.
Because it's the same. It's not like they're 2 different
flavors.
All right. Unless you set them up that way. So we did a bunch of tones and grabbed a bunch of different guitars, set it up. One of the things we always ask is how would we kind of use this? So let's grab some guitars, let's dive into it and see what kind of sounds we get out of it. Pat, do you want to go first with one of yours?
I went first, and I'm not sure I would say this is how I would use it. I just watched a few demos, and maybe certain playing styles led itself to, at times, a little heavier flavor. So I always get out the PRS 1995 Standard 24, dragging pickups, put it in the bridge, went down to the dreaded drop D. I did not dime out the drive, but had the drive up pretty high on it, and tried to play some modern rock sounding things. That's what it sounded like.
So my first clip, I grabbed kind of my go-to guitar, right? So the 2000 PRS McCarty, and just started dialing it into a place where I thought, this is where I like it. This is where I would use it. I don't even, we've been doing this for a long time here, and this pedal's loud. Like, I mean, it's forceful. Mm-hmm. And so my head's ringing a little bit. I don't remember where I had it set. You'll see it in the picture. But I really like the sound. And so here it is, McCarty, PRS McCarty with the Ark of Tone.
All right, so for the next clip, I have this guy in my hand again. One thing we wanted to do was play with the voltage output. And I couldn't find what the ranges were. I heard someone said it might go down to all the way down to 3 volts, and we don't know where the top end is. But if you get it all the way to the left, there's no output. Like, you get below output. So what we did was bring it up to where we had output, and because it says it can get really sputtery and spitty like a fuzz. So like, well, how do you do that? So I did that with this guitar. I did it on the bridge pickup and the neck pickup, and just wanted to give you a flavor of where you could have it set to where it's really gonna sputter and choke out on you like a fuzz. But here it is.
Or a sitar.
Yes. So in case you can't tell, this video is not a one-shot. There are pauses. And during the pause, we're like, well, it can only probably go up to 9 volt because right here on the box, it says 9 volt DC 50 milliamp. So my guess is that it goes up to 9 volts. Of course, my educated guess by what's on the box. So we may have answered in our deep research, we have answered our own question there.
All right. So for my second clip, I stuck with the PRS because one of the things I noticed on the first clip, and I guess I did roll the volume back on the first clip near the end.
Right.
When I rolled the volume back, it cleaned up a lot, and I was like, man, I really like that. I like that. It's such a weird thing. Like this idea of, hey, let's plug in an overdrive pedal, let's push the overdrive pedal, and then let's roll the volume back on the guitar to have a clean guitar sound. But there's something that happens there that I really like. So I started playing around with that with this guitar, went over to the other side, and kind of dialed it in. So with the volume all the way up, it wasn't as strong. And then in this clip, you're going to see me go between both sides. So I think I start kind of volume back, roll the volume up to like the really, really loud that I had in the first clip, flip over to the other side, which pulls it back a little bit, and then roll the volume down and pull it back even more. And then at the end, just because this is a sound, it's very close to a sound that I use a lot when I click on a Leslie pedal after it, that gives it that kind of sizzle that the Leslie gets. Right. So at the very end, I clicked on a right here, a Neo vent, micro vent. So the 116 Leslie from Neo, and this is what it sounds like.
right, for my next clip, I grabbed this Les Paul Junior Special while it is still in our possession, because not for much longer. It is on loan to us from Zzounds. So I wanted to see, for me, what P90s would do. Sorry, I had a brain fart. P90s would do in there. And I tried to put it in the middle so we can hear both P90s at the same time. I think I had the gain rolled back quite a bit, but it's still a pretty gainy sound, and this is it.
Talked a little bit about this pedal, and it's interesting to me because it's based the circuit's based on the Red Llama from Way Huge, right? Which was one of their first pedals.
That's what I understood. Yes.
So one of the things I saw online is the Way Huge pedal is kind of that Red Llama. A lot of people talk about it being a great tweed style pedal, and I like tweed style pedals. Talking to John, that was not the goal with this pedal to get that sound. But like it's one of those things where, I should mention John does a ton of videos on his channel where he's like, hey, use this pedal to sound like this, or he really runs through a lot of different things. And I was like, yeah, but I still want to see, because it does have that kind of thing to me a little bit. So I grabbed, this is our Les Paul Junior. SG Junior, I guess. Gibson SG Junior. Grabbed that and, I just took it for a spin. This is the 93 Mexican Telly that had the great makeover with the twisted Telly pickups, the Bigsby, what's this bridge? Mastery Bridge. We tripled the value of the guitar, courtesy of Fender and ourselves here. But I want to get this out and just see how this would react to single coils. Now, if you watch this channel for any length, I'm not a self-proclaimed volume guy. But what I did was I turned the volume down until we got to what Jason was talking about earlier, where it kind of cleans up and has a sparkle on the top. So that's exactly what I did with this. I started out by playing some rhythm stuff in the neck, and then I flipped it to the middle,
And then at the end, you'll hear me roll up what was left of the volume, and it sounds like this.
At this point, I kind of feel like I wish we'd done even more with the volume knob, because what you did with the Tele sounded so good. I can't stress that enough. You know, not only with this pedal, but in a lot of pedals, getting that. It's one of the things that got us into the whole Electro series was how good some of those pedals sounded if you just rolled the volume knob back a little bit and they were kind of pushing, even though. Anyway, I won't go into that rabbit hole right now any more than we already have. For this clip, I was playing with the Strat and was trying to figure out something to do. And then we realized something, that on where I got the bridge pickup to be dark enough that I liked it, when it's a neck pickup, it
wasn't clear enough.
It wasn't bright enough.
Yeah, right.
So we set up, I think, the right side to sound where I liked it with the bridge, and the left side to sound where I liked it with the neck. And then I played the bridge on the right, switched it to the left. Now it doesn't sound, well, anyway, you just have to watch. If I try to explain it, it'll get all screwed up.
That's not what you did.
But yeah, I mean, you should hear it be like, sound good and then too bright, and then the next sound good and then too dark. And we were able to do that. So you could use this pedal and the ability to just flip-flop between the two with that middle button to really kind of dial in a side for whatever pickup you're using. We thought that was really cool. Here you go.
So for the last clip, we thought, what would it sound like with mini humbuckers? So we grabbed down the Rivolta Mondata, which doesn't get much love outside of, I think we used it for our tremolo series. But it sounded really good with mini humbuckers. That was one of the territories we hadn't explored with this pedal. And again, didn't really juice the gain that much on this, but I thought it sounded huge for the amount of gain.
This pedal sounds big.
It does. Yeah, we didn't get close to the max gain. I think was on the black PRS in the beginning, max that we used. It wasn't the max on the pedal. So, but it has a really wide range of gain sounds, and this is what it sounds like with a mini humbucker.
that was our clips on the Ark of Tone. All that's left right now is final thoughts.
Interesting pedal. 2 pedals in one. Does some of the things you would think a dual pedal would do and some things that they don't. So one thing it doesn't do is you can't change the order of which one feeds into each other. Chose not to have them both on at the same time, but like the idea of what we did with the Strat, where you could have one side set up, maybe more pickup selected friendly, and the other side for something different, or maybe have the other one just a little hotter for a lead. Like you could set these up for 2 different things. So you're basically getting 2 drives on your board. And if you took some time and dialed it in, you could have the insanity of both on at the same time.
Right.
The only thing I think a general comment was pretty much everything except for when we did the sitar sounding thing. We had the voltage wide open, which in our world here with our amp and our power supplies and everything, the noise floor was a bit much. It was a hissy thing. It was almost felt like a fuzz. They get a little loud sometimes when they're on. And so that would be my only negative comment, if it's even that's what that is. It's just like the lead singer, you have to turn off the lead singer's talking about songs. You're talking about between songs. You want to turn it off a little bit because it does hiss a little bit.
But once you start playing and once the band's playing,
it's gone.
You're not going to hear it.
First cymbal crash, it's gone.
And I think one of the reasons we're thinking about it is somebody just asked us a comment on another pedal, and they're like, what's the noise floor? Would I need a noise gate? And that's not something we ever normally get into.
Right.
I imagine not everybody playing this is running into like a clean Fenders type amp, so maybe that goes away when you're using something that's higher gain already. There's all kinds of stuff in there. For me, I like... There's something about drives. We have one other CMOS. This is like through CMOS,
yeah.
right? We have one other drive that's a CMOS drive. They're not super popular right now, I don't think. And the one we have is, I think, really cool and totally different than this. But it's a one knobber from the Electro one. There's something about, there's certain drive pedals that we get in here that sound different than all the other stuff we use. And so a lot of time what happens if you throw a drive pedal down, it's like, hey, let's dial it up how we would use it and make it sound like every other drive that we use. And then you get to something like this. I don't think you can do that.
No.
So to me, that's like a drive pedal to check out. Like check out one that you're not going to make it sound like you. If this makes sense. Does this make sense? Check out pedals that are going to give you like another flavor. Then, that's a cool thing. I ended up falling in love with another pedal that gives me a totally different flavor than what I'm used to, that I use quite frequently. That would be closer to this probably than farther away from it. And then 2-in-1 and that whole thing. I liked when I had one side set up heavier and the other side set up kind of softer. It gave me a lot of range.
Right. And you had your volume knob in that as well.
With the volume knob in it as well. I like when you push it with the volume. There's a lot of cool stuff going on here. Check out the clips because that's where I think the cool stuff was. I think that's it.
Cool.
There's one other thing. It's a really cool looking pedal. It's nicely done. Soft switches.
Yep.
So good on you, Frank. Nice job. We have 2 more that came from FFX that we want to check out here soon. But we're starting with the Ark of Tone. John, thanks for hooking us up with Frank, and we're really excited about this. And that's really cool that he had that as his signature pedal for his YouTube channel.
That is cool.
We dig that. And if you haven't checked out the Tone Lounge yet, please make sure you go over and do that, and check out Frank over at I think it's ffxpedals.com. And with that, we always say thanks for subscribing, hitting the notification button, clicking the like, whatever. Anytime you interact with the channel, leave a comment, whatever. That's what helps us interact with cool people like John and Frank over at FFX. Say that 3 times fast.
Easy for you to say.
Right. And get cool stuff in to share with you. And so with that,
I'm PJ on behalf of the beard, reminding you that you hear you never have too much gear, especially when it comes with a bag suitable to take to market with, I already took it out, chocolate.